This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Monday, May the 8th, 2023. We're so glad you could join us. Coming up in today's show, I talk with National Pork Producer Council's Josh Scramlin about the importance of everybody getting involved in the ag industry and sharing our story. We also take a look at that ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're at the end of another trading day, and it's time to turn to Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Robin, what did we see in that grain trade today?
Well, corn again had quite a bit of divergence between the front month contract, May contract relative to new crop. And now, first of all, the May contracts go off the board Friday. That'll be their last trading day. So there's a good demand basically that we're seeing still in that front month, and that's why we see such a market divergence in there. But that maintained today. We almost had a 10-cent difference between old crop and new crop. Now export inspections today were not good for corn. It was 37.9 million bushels. That was down 21.9 million bushels from a week ago. Beans, 14.5 million bushels, down 500,000 bushels. And wheat was 7.7 million bushels, down 5.5 million bushels. So the export inspections were not supportive to the market today. Now, we have planting progress coming out this afternoon. Corn is estimated at 43% complete relative to 26% last week and 22% a year ago. So we're really making some progress on that corn, not so much in the northern states, but in a lot of the main Midwestern states and some of the others. So we're seeing a lot of progress taking place. Soybeans, they're expecting 32% done. Now, that was 19% last week and 12% a year ago. And that really shows that idea of planting soybeans early and getting earlier is really seeming to gain some steam right now, I should say, because when we're looking at a planting progress, nearly 3 times more than we were a year ago. Of course, there's always things involved in that weather and all that kind of stuff too. But spring wheat is expected at 24% done relative to 12% last week and 27% a year ago. Now, weather looks good as we're coming through this week in many places. Soil temperatures are warming up. They're saying the stuff that's out of the ground is seeming to be pretty uniform at this point in time. And there's possible some significant rains in much needed areas in the next week. Nebraska, Kansas, Dakotas, where the dry areas are, there's some much needed rain. So things are looking fairly decent, and that's why we're seeing some pressure on these grain markets. Now, Ukraine and Russia, Turkey, and the UN failed to agree on authorizing more vessels on Friday for shipping grain out of Ukraine. Russia's still a sticking point in there, and they wanted to get more vessels to be confirmed to go in there or approved to go in there, but that did not happen. And there's, on the Brazilian side, there's a significant discount of Brazilian soybeans price to the U.S., and that's increased China's demand for Brazilian soybeans, which has resulted in some cancellations of U.S. beans, but it also has the interest for importing soybeans to the U.S. So far, there's been 4 loads, cargo loads that have been imported into the U.S.
All right, well, moving over to the livestock side of things, Robin, how did those cattle and hogs pan out today?
Well, live cattle were able to hold their own. They were up a little bit, double-digit gains today. Now we did see lower cash last week. Southern cattle $1 lower, northern dressed cattle $3 lower. That marked the third consecutive week of lower cash. Now the numbers haven't changed. We're still in a tighter market. But the thing is that packers seem to be getting a little bit of the upper hand right now. So even though we've been trading lower cash, what we've seen is that they've been able to purchase ahead for deferred delivery. So last week was no exception to that. They purchased 30% of the cattle of last week were purchased for deferred delivery. And that puts them a little more in the driver's seat again for this week. So if we can at least get steady cash, that will be a victory, I think, this week. But we could see something a little bit lower as well. Now, boxed beef prices at midday today, choice were down 81 cents and select were down $1.87. Now, feeder cattle, triple-digit gains today. A little bit more reactive. They're not quite as heavily traded as live cattle, but a little more reactive today. Showing a little bit more of a rebound, triple-digit gains across the board pretty much. Moving over to the hogs, they struggled today after the big washout on Friday, making new contract lows. They struggled today, having a difficult time finding any kind of support. They closed generally a little bit lower. Again, after the new contract lows last week, noon report showed, they didn't show a noon report cash because of some of the confidentiality of packers submitting that at this point in time. It did show a little bit higher cutout values at noon. Of course, that changes back and forth, but hogs are really struggling. Stops were hit on Friday, selling pancaked that market lower, and traders are just shy to get back into it today, and that's why we haven't seen a real large movement.
All right. Well, Robin, if folks want to take advantage of the situation wherever they're at in the commodities and want to talk about some of their options, how do they get in touch with agmarket.net?
Well, they can call me directly at 877-256-3253 or go to agmarket.net, the website. The 844 number is on there, and they can call in, and somebody will be glad to answer their questions.
All right, Robin, well, we thank you so much for the insight, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
All right, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
And that was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Let's take a look at the closing numbers. That comes to us courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. July corn was unchanged at $5.96.5. December new crop down a nickel at $5.29 3/4. July beans down 2 3/4 at $14.33 3/4. November new crop down 7.5 at $12.72.5. Soy meal up 80 cents at $4.26.90. Soy oil down 68 cents at $53.65. Chicago wheat down 6 1/4 at $6.54 even. Minneapolis up 7 3/4 at $8.43 3/4. Kansas wheat up 11 1/4 at $8.44 1/4. July oats up 10 1/4 at $3.39 1/4. June live cattle up 50 cents at $162.42. Feeders were up 90 cents at $203.42. May lean hogs a dime higher at $75.62. Pork cutouts up $1.40 at $82.60. And Class 3 milk down 13 cents at $16.44. And that's been our Ag Market Recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I talk with National Pork Producer Council's Josh Scramlin. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to AMPM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Well, agriculture is in a never-ending battle to win over the opinions of those who are not in the agriculture industry and also get the attention of those in Congress who are not familiar with an agriculture background. To do that, we all need to work together. Sometimes we find ourselves fighting battles against each other for the same resources when we all really need to work together. National Pork Producer Council's Josh Scramlin talked with me in Washington earlier this last month, and we talked about the importance of everybody getting together, working together, and being involved in one way, shape, or form. We're talking right now with Josh Scramlin of the National Pork Producers Council. And Josh, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you, Dustin.
So obviously everybody here at NPPC is excited about talking about all kinds of different topics. Tell us a little about what you're excited to be sharing with our producers here today.
Yeah, absolutely. So where I would also, do you want me to look at here or look at you?
Talk at the camera is fine. I stand over here because I can hear you.
Okay, so sorry.
Because I did not bring my headphones down from my hotel room.
I noticed you didn't have anything in you.
No, and I can hear you.
Okay.
So it's not a problem.
Okay, you can hear me. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, Dustin, so the things that I'm focused on talking about is how to get more producers engaged. I'm sure you're going to hear this from a lot of the ag organizations, but we are only as strong as our membership allows us to be. And I think that maybe producers really don't realize how politically powerful they can be. So for producers, whether it's pork with us at NPPC, or it's corn, or it's soy, or it's beef, heck, I don't care if it's cherries or it's blueberries, whatever it may be. You as a producer have a very powerful voice, and I think that it's something that really resonates with lawmakers. So even though it may not be exactly what lawmakers are thinking, the practices of farming today are maybe different than what they have in mind, right? Because it's not American Gothic and it's not like Green Acres, but that doesn't make it bad. I think for you to connect with your lawmakers and say, hey, what we're doing is capital intensive, we're relying on the most advanced technology out there, this is a family business that we're doing, and really are the heartbeat of America. My point here is that with all of that, you have the opportunity to get involved in so many great organizations. NPPC is one of them. So standing right next to me, the person you just talked to, Scott Hayes is an independent pork producer from the state of Missouri. So I guess my thing is whether it's NPPC or whatever organization it may be, there are a lot of opportunities for you to do things that you may never think you could do, right? I'm on my local county farm bureau board. My family doesn't raise pigs, that's why I'm not an NPPC member, but even just getting involved on a county or a local level and getting involved and talking with lawmakers, that is really, really powerful. And you can do that by being a member of NPPC or the National Cattlemen's or corn, whatever commodity you have, I would implore you definitely to get involved as much as you can.
And it's interesting. It kind of goes to something we've been talking about, at least here as journalists for the past couple of years, is that ag sometimes can get in its own little pockets. The cattle producers, the corn growers, the hog producers, everybody's got their own little niche and their own little group. But it comes back to that old saying of, if you don't hang together, you're going to hang separately.
That's right.
And I have not met a pork producer, cattle producer yet that's the only thing they do on the farm.
Yeah.
It's a multifaceted business. And so working together, being involved is going to go a long way. There's strength in numbers no matter where those allies are coming from.
Yeah, and that's especially on something like the Farm Bill that we're working on this year. So a lot of our priorities are the same. So pork agrees with cattle and eggs and chicken and turkey and sheep that we need to keep something like foreign animal disease out of the country. So that's something, it really doesn't matter what species it is, it just needs to stay out. So something that I've kind of been clued in on working with this organization that I wasn't clued in on before is just how much they all work together and the things that happen behind the scenes that producers aren't seeing, right? So for example, a few weeks ago, we worked with cattle, turkey, eggs, the ones that I just named, and we actually had a pre-briefing for a House Agriculture Committee hearing. So before all the members of Congress, they sit up, on their dais and they ask questions to the ag groups. We actually briefed their staff on, hey, this is what we're going to talk about, and I know this is a lot of complex stuff, but these are the questions that we would hope that your bosses, the members of Congress, would ask. And it was great to see just a united front, because in something like the Farm Bill, basically getting any money out of the federal government can be difficult, right? So you've got X amount of dollars, and we're all trying to get it for what we think is important. For not just one group, NPPC, but for 5 groups together to go to Congress and say, hey, all of us care about the same thing. We're not asking you for 5 different pots of money. It's 5 people asking for 1 pot of money. That is really important, and I think it resonates. And to your point, Dustin, what you were saying, I can think right now, a lot of pork producers, they also raise cattle, they also have corn, they also have soy. Heck, some of them also have turkeys. So all those diversified operations, different industries that are representing them, but might go back to one farm. So, yeah.
All right, and so definitely there's strength in that number, so farmers getting involved, whether that's being part of a group that works through maybe signing a petition through a group like the NPPC, or maybe it's getting educated so you're the ones calling, the farmers are the ones calling their congressional representatives because they need to hear from their voting members as much as they do organizations.
Yeah, I mean, we have a really talented team of folks here in Washington, D.C. that are great at what they do, but at the end of the day, and I can include myself, and I'm a regional rep, right? I don't live here in Washington, but I tell all the members that I work with, like, I'm not the pig farmer. I'm not. I'm working for you. I'm here on your behalf. But ultimately, for the really, really difficult messages, for a constituent to reach out and say, hey, I'm upset about this, or I need you to sign on to this letter, it carries much, much more weight on issues that we may not be able to be as strong-handed about. So we're always working on your behalf here, but we need your help in a lot of aspects. So to go to a member of Congress and say, hey, this person lives in your district and we talked with them this week and they're concerned about this, that carries weight. So a lot of these offices are more accessible than you think they might be. They all have phones. It's real people that will answer them. You can write your member of Congress. But for an organization like NPPC, we're more than happy to give you the tools and the support and the information that you need to make those calls so you're not just walking in blind. So I would certainly encourage you to become a member and strengthen the voice of the U.S. pork industry.
All right, so where do they find out more information about becoming a member?
You go to nppc.org, and there you will find out where you can become a member, all the different member benefits, what it is that we're about, and not to be confused with the National Pork Board. We are the lobbying arm of the U.S. pork industry. I get it, they both start with the words National Pork. National Pork Board is your pork checkoff, and that is, we work with them, but they are separate than the National Pork Producers Council, and we would be the lobbying and the policy arm of the U.S. pork industry. So if you think that keeping African swine fever out of the country is a good thing, if you think fighting things like Prop 12 are a good thing, we're your group, and we would definitely welcome anybody to go to nppc.org.
All right, thank you so much, Josh.
Thank you.
And that again was Josh Scramlin of the National Pork Producers Council. Let's take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, the clouds have been rolling through here in Des Moines. The sun's trying to peek through after a weekend's worth of rain. Definitely welcome to get some of those seeds off to a good start, and hopefully not going to impede any more planting progress as the days and weeks go on. But warm weather is going to help get that ground dried right back off again. Let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for Iowa for the next 24 hours. Well, there's quite a bit of cloud cover across much of the state here, as there was still a chance of showers out in the east. The skies were starting to clear in the west, and we saw highs anywhere from about 70 to 80 degrees. Now, tonight, look for clear skies in the west. Skies will stay cloudy in the east, and we'll see hot lows anywhere from the upper 40s to the upper 50s. And then tomorrow, we'll see variably cloudy skies. That cloud cover will start to push off more from the west. There'll still be some chances of scattered showers in the east, and we'll see highs anywhere from the low to upper 70s. Looking at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will be mostly cloudy and 74 with a chance of rain. Shenandoah, partly sunny and 79. Des Moines, partly sunny, 76. Waterloo, partly sunny, 73. Albia, 75 and partly sunny skies. Clinton, partly cloudy to mostly sunny skies and 73 degrees. And that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. And with that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and on our YouTube channel. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified each time we put out a new video. You can also check out our free twice daily market podcast coming on Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.